Amateurs and professionals are very, very different in skill sets, but they're also very different in how they approach issues that are taking place with their golf swing. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you tell your friends about what we've got going on over here. And any questions that you've got, send them to us. So an amateur hits a bad shot, and they immediately start thinking about, well, what went on? What was wrong with my swing? A professional hits a bad shot, and they start thinking, what did I do in my setup position? And that's something that I want you to really get good at, is setup position. Now, one of the best things that I use for assisting people with setting up properly is the Tsquare. Doesn't cost a lot. I've actually put some blue tape on this Tsquare because I don't like, when I bring it outside, the reflection that the silver has into my eye. But it gets to be bothersome. But I use this thing all the time for putting and for full swing, occasionally for chipping, but mostly for putting and for full swing. Now here's how I use it. So Gibbsy, let's go down the line. What I like to do is I like to take my Tsquare and just lay it flat on the ground. I don't worry about the long end being here or the long end being here when I first start. Okay, I don't pay attention to that. I'm just working with irons. Now, what I do with this is I make sure that this line, whichever one, long or short, is headed parallel to where I'm trying to hit my golf ball. So let's just assume I'm trying to hit it to the target in the distance. I put the golf ball at the very back end of where the Tsquare, where it meets. And then what I do is I use this way. And this you probably want to get a close-up in on 5 if you can. What I do is I take the leading edge and I make sure that at the start the leading edge is parallel to the back edge of the Tsquare. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get in line with camera 5 here, I'm going to move this up like that and put that there like that. Yeah. So now what I'll do is I'll take that square, I move it up here, and for many of you, this is going to look open. I'm telling you, it's going to look open. And most of you are looking at the top line instead of the leading edge, okay? So I'm going to do that way. Then the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at ball position. Now what's interesting about ball position is when you look at ball position, are you looking at the middle of the ball, the back of the ball, or the front of the ball is the position of the ball, right? I always look at the back of the ball. For some reason, that's where I'm going to hit it. So what I try to do is I try to take my 6-iron with the back of the ball, which is the back of this, and all of a sudden that's like just a little forward of the middle of my stance. And then I get in here, I set the club face to that, and now I have my ball position and I just swing. I'm not trying to hit this hard as much as I'm just trying to hit it. I'm trying to get used to this idea of how this tee is in the ground and what the club face and path should look like there. And again, it looks a little open, and now I make a swing. Okay? I am not concerned with the curve of the ball. I'm not concerned with the strike. I'm simply working on what I do before I put the club in motion. The hitting of the ball is just getting used to the ball being in the position that it is. The hitting of the ball is the club face, getting used to the club face being in the position that it is. Okay? So here and there. Okay? Now, when I start to use this tee a little bit differently, now what I'll do here is this. I'll now take the short end, send that towards a parallel spot towards the target. And I don't have this on this Tsquare, but you just have to believe me that this has great advantage. What I will do is, when I bring the ball in here, same exact thing. It's on the back edge of that tee. What I'll do is I'll make lines along the Tsquare of where my 6-iron is. So my 6-iron, my toe line is here. My 4-iron, it's here, whatever, okay? And what you want to do is you always start like that golf ball is going to be one club head away from the tee. If you need to do more than that, you can, but it's never closer than that. And so you might have, okay, there's a precision in how far away that is. That's going to be a club and a half. My 6-iron position is going to be right there. And now when I get in here, I got the club face where I want it. I got my ball position where I want it. My feet are where I want it. And now I swing, okay? And it's a wonderful way of creating a real consistency with what you're doing, okay? And what I mean by that is what you're doing before you put the club in motion. What you're doing with your ball position, what you're doing with your weight distribution, what you're doing with your feet, what you're doing with your club face. Those are the things that are really, really important so that you create consistency. How far away from this golf ball am I? Why am I struggling with my golf swing today? Well, maybe because you're too far from the ball and your weight's out on your toes. Maybe you're not being able to make the motion that you want to make. This will help you, okay? So it gives you this idea of distance to the ball, club face position, ball position. Now that's a little bit of a better swing, a little bit of a fuller swing, and that's a very, very straight shot. That's a shot that's easy to chase. The other thing that I love about this is this. When you swing through the shot, I learned this from Johnny Miller years and years ago. You have to be able to control the leading edge when you come into the strike. If the leading edge is to the left, the ball's going to go to the left. If the leading edge is to the right, the ball's going to go to the right. And so what you want to do is you want to make sure that you've got that leading edge coming into the ball. This is one of the best iron players that ever lived. In the early to middle part of the 70s, there was not a better iron player on tour. Control the leading edge. Start with it at address. Have the leading edge right where you want it. And then when you come back through, I want to make sure that leading edge is getting into the ball square to that tee. And when you do that, look at this. This one is absolutely dead straight. Maybe moved to the right a fraction, but for everybody else, it's dead straight. And so as you start to pay attention to this little, what this tee is going to help you do, it's going to help you with the club face. That's what the ball knows. It's going to help you with your distance to the ball. That allows you to hit it in the center of the club face. It's going to help you with what you're doing with the consistency of your address position, so you're always in the same place every time relative to a 9-iron or a 6-iron or whatever club it is that you're hitting, okay? And all of a sudden, you start to get that consistency that you look for, because you do something consistently. I say it all the time. You want consistency, you got to do something consistently. That's the way it has to be. So get yourself one of these. I'm telling you, this thing is going to help you improve so much. And you don't even have to take it out of the house. You can simply have a ball in there. You don't need to hit it because it's just pre-swing. And you start to develop, hey, when I get in here, this is what I feel where my weight distribution is, okay? Now, the last way I'll use this is this. I'll spin this like this. I don't do this a lot, by the way, but I'll spin it like that. And now, imagining this thing where it's going, how far is with a 6-iron, how far is my toe away from that? It just so happens when I have the space that I'm looking for, which is about one ball, it's hard to describe what I'm going to say, but the heel of my golf club is one ball away from the top of this thing. And when that happens, my toe of my left foot is about one club head away from that. And now my distance and my weight distribution are good. Now all I got to do is just deliver that club face square. And when I deliver it square, look at this. It just goes dead down the line. I mean, I don't think I can hit it any straighter than that, boys. That's my best effort at straight. What did that one look like? Yeah, I mean, there you go. Like, that's straight. And so here's what I can promise you. Get yourself this thing. I put the blue tape on there. You can choose to do that as well. It's going to save your eyes, okay? And then use it in a variety of fashions. I use this a lot on putting greens. It's great on a putting green. It helps you with your squareness and your consistency, but it's a wonderful thing to have when you're working on your swing on your full swing out on the practice tee. Bring this with you the next time you go. I'm telling you, you're going to start a fad. Everybody's going to get out there, and then when they go, hey, where'd you get that idea? Michael Breed sent you.
To improve all parts of your game, subscribe to my channel and click the link below.